Aloha Kohala. It's 3:01 here on July 5th, and you're listening to Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and...
Michál.
Oh, I should put your microphone on. Try that again.
Michál.
There she is. Hi, dear.
Aloha. Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday. It's nice to be here today. It's a little steamy outside.
It is a hot day,
Yeah.
and a lot is coming up in the ethers. I don't know about all you guys, but this last couple weeks has been pretty intense with the solstice energy, and then the full moon just happened, and kind of how I'm perceiving that is really everything's coming to the light. Everything that gets to be revealed, everything gets to be turned upside. We pull all the rocks up, look what's under there. So we're getting to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Because as things are splitting, as we're making choices, and we're either choosing to move into more and greater love and expansion, or we're choosing to hang on to our perceived fears or perceived realities, we are making choices. And we're in a big, huge choice point right now. Really big. You can feel it almost like in some realities that maybe were your reality before, it might now feel like a magnet, where it's not really like vibing, some things that you're leaving, or you might be presented with things, family, friends, old things that were in your past that maybe you've let go of, that maybe now you're like, wait, it's coming back in my face.
Yeah, I thought I was over this.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are loops.
Yeah.
And this is cool to kind of understand, because it gives us a framework to understand why is so much coming up, why does it seem so crazy in my emotional self or psychological self or mental self.
Yeah. And I've been finding that, last time we were together, I feel like I was, having the La La Land experience, And then this past week, I have felt such mental struggles. It's like on the outside, nothing looks different, but mentally, I'm like, what's going on? What is that about?
Yeah.
And it's not, it's hard to, it's just there. And I think it's really important to honor it rather than trying to deny it, because I have a great life. What's going on in my head? Well, we've all had history. We're all connected. We're all part of this big change that's going on. And so it shows up in ways maybe we don't think it's going to show up. And nobody's immune to it. Even if you've done all your work and you've done lots of spiritual work and lots of psychological work, doesn't mean that there isn't something. We were talking about the layers, that we peel back some layers, and maybe we didn't consciously peel it back, but something shows up and it's like, oh, wow, this is really getting under my skin today. I need to see what I can do to use my tools to first acknowledge it, but then use my tools to see what's going on. Yes, what?
I was going to ask for a piece of paper. I'm like, I need to take notes. She's got so many fun things she's saying.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you that it's been just kind of a swirl, right?
Yeah.
And this thing to use, a couple of things you brought up. One, no one's immune, right? We're all in this, at every level, we're peeling away layers. We're here still moving out of this. Well, for those that are in awareness, if you're 3D, 4D, 5D, we're choosing to move up into dimensional framework, but there's so much farther to go. So any of us here still have a long way to go.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Yeah. Bottom line, in order to get out of here, you got to keep going. So we got to we're all growing until we're not here. So we're on the road, and we're all different places in that journey. But ultimately, you don't have to have been through deep abuse, trauma, murder, horrible things in order to have triggers, in order to have emotional wounding, in order to have things you're working on. Because we're not just experiencing this framework. We are multidimensional beings. And what's so cool, and we've touched on a bunch, is that we're understanding this more, that we have to manage our energies at a multidimensional level. We have to open and expand our framework of understanding. So if we take our framework of understanding big to even continue our conversation and go, hey, it's out here, super big. We're galactic beings. It's a multidimensional framework. Time is not linear. So with all that being said, maybe, something like rejection. For me, that's been a thing in my world. Rejection, feeling rejected here, feeling rejected there. That might have shown up through my family or through a partner or through some area in my current life. But ultimately speaking, it goes back way far to something that happened a really long time ago when I felt betrayed, we felt rejected, we felt abandoned. And we can really take that back to we felt abandoned by God. We felt betrayed by the separation, which is really, we distill it to like the ultimate feeling. What is that ultimate feeling? I feel. And then it goes into like really a big one for me, especially about 15 years ago when I was working really deeply, was worthiness, feeling like I am worthy. And that goes with that betrayal, rejection, feeling worthy, good enough. So that was definitely up. And I had lots of experiences reflecting that didn't feel fun. And I was moving through the mud and the shame and the mire to understand myself. But at that time, moving through those things, there's layers, right? So you might be hitting like a circumstance in your current life and think, oh, I finished it. Well, but did we hit that other life and then go back to the very core? So what Eila and I are often talking about is getting to the root. How do we get to the root of what's really going on and get to what's that core feeling? For me, that's one, rejection. Okay, so it's showing up here, showing up there, but I'm now also projecting rejection. So we're going to get into that for a minute, but I'd love to hear your reflections on what I said before, and then we'll get into the projection aspect.
You mean about the different layers of...
Yeah, like your experience of that.
So I think one of the things that I deal with is the feeling of being judged. And it's not about the person that's out there that's judging me, right? It's something about me that is letting that get under my skin, kind of. Because I find when there are times where it's almost like nothing's going to bother me because I'm in a place where no matter what is going on out there, somebody says something, does something, doesn't do something, it's like, oh, it's just the movie. It's like, oh, that movie's going on, and I don't feel it. But then there are those times where it's like, bam, it gets right in there. And I just feel recently I've been much more, things have been hitting. So maybe it's just needing to go a little deeper now and say, okay, so you've been moving along this path, and now there's some new layers coming up. It's not about anybody outside of yourself. It's about you and what you need to work through and what you need to be aware of, and then using your tools to get there. This is me talking to me.
Totally. Me talking to myself.
Me talking to me. And the other thing that came up while you were talking, and we mentioned this on the phone earlier, was that whatever I'm going through, whatever Michal's going through, whatever you who are listening is going through, it's about you and it's about what you're experiencing, and it's very real and it's very personal. And it's also about the rest of us, because we're all going through all of these things at different times in different ways. And maybe me working through this feeling judged is going to actually help others around me, help humanity. And sometimes for me, I need to look at that bigger picture. I need to get out of just my story and what's going on for me and say, you know what, there's more purpose to this than what I might think. There's a bigger picture here.
Totally. I can really relate to that. When that unworthiness time, I was going through an abuse relationship for about a year, which was pretty heavy and intense and not my framework. I came from a good place. That shouldn't have shown up necessarily.
Right.
And then it offered a really great internal, it was very hellish and very full of shame, but which I now understand was, again, coming from a really deep place in myself from a long time ago, from this betrayal, the fall, separation from God. You get to this deeper distilled feeling. It's not about the scenario that's happening in your world right now. And I couldn't really get to that. I mean, I could have picked an easier thing to happen. It doesn't have to be horrible like that. That's about consciously knowing, oh, my lessons can be easy. Oh, you can call in easy lessons. I didn't get that till much later. So it didn't call in very easy lessons. I'm like, give it to me. I want to go fast. Just put it in my face. Yeah. And then it was like, in my face, and it was, quick.
Yeah.
I got to go fast, but it also was intense.
That's intense, yeah.
And
that's
crazy and like, whoa. And also getting really deep pieces of myself quickly, getting shine the light on. Because when something, it's like sometimes you can't see something, right, until something specific shines the light. And then it gives you the opportunity to look at, like you said, look at yourself. Because, as Eila was touching on, everything is us. So this whole thing, back to vibrational movie and how does it work, it kind of like we're basically projecting our reality at all times and creating our reality. And everybody's doing that. So I'm projecting, Eila's projecting. We're both projecting a reality. If we're conscious, then we are able to release our projections and just be here now. Right? And just have a free of projection reality where we're just in the moment. That's what this whole goal is. You're just here now, right? Experiencing each other. She's not leaving to think of a past place.
Right.
I'm not leaving. I'm not projecting an assumption or a wound. She's not projecting. See, then we're just here in the field, experiencing each other, listening and responding. So if we think of that concept and you take it to every place of your life, am I projecting right now? Am I responding? How am I interacting with my reality? So that thing about rejection, a fun example in my little world was, okay, so, and this is like fine tunes. I'd worked out all the lifetimes of this life. I was like, that didn't come up so much anymore, but was down deep still. And like you said, we're at this place where layers are being pulled up. It's like the tentacles of the octopus. You get a little bit, I want to get that octopus off the top. Well, it's got long tentacles. So you have to pull it all up in order to get that stuff out. And we are at the choice point right now where we have to pull everything up. There is not really any other way through. This whole thing you've gone down, if you're on the path of ascension or spiritual, you're really thinking in terms of new earth, 4D, 5D, you're thinking 5D, 6D. You're in these frameworks of wanting to expand yourself to house more love. Then most likely you've already been around the circle. You have been dark at some point in your journey.
Sure.
And now you've realized the value of the light. You find yourself. You realize, my holy mother and father. You become a real boy, a real girl. We become a real soul. See?
We become who we really are.
We become who we really are. That's what we're kind of on this journey here in 3D, right?
Yeah.
Now we're moving into 5D. So in order to do that, we have to let go of all those things we experienced in 3D. All those nasty things, all those intense stories, because a bunch of loops been running for thousands of years. We've been in a bunch of different plays. You've been an actor in a play, but my base experience of the negative experience, the bad loop, was always somehow rejection in there. Doesn't matter what story I was in.
Right.
That was in there somewhere.
Right.
So funny, it's like going kind of, that's showing up again. That's showing up over there. And then a little boy I don't even know, like, rejected me. Like, I'm not your friend. You're not my friend. I'm like, and I laughed like, okay, now this little boy is also rejecting me. And he has a setup for the same kind of energies that I normally see the rejection come through at me in. And I had to laugh and go, I'm obviously projecting this.
Yeah.
This is me projecting rejection. You don't want to project rejection. So I got to take responsibility for it and go, okay, I'm going to just go. I went by myself. I'm just going to sit for a minute and really just release these threads. I closed my eyes and went into that meditative space. And this is where the tools really matter. See, is when we use them on the fly, when we need them, and we're actually go in and find something. And we go, okay, what is this? Oh, I can feel that down there. Ooh, it doesn't feel good. Oh, betrayal. Ooh, I feel like there's a betrayal still involved in there. Feeling betrayed. Ooh, and then I got to a finer tune of it, and I could feel it really old, really, really, really old, like so long. And I was able to move that energy, and it's like a density that you just let go of, move it, collect my own energies. There's a process for that, ways to do that in your visualizations. I don't want to go too deep into that here, but there's ways you can do that if you're not familiar. And just really bottom line is bringing in a lot of love and support for yourself and whatever you're experiencing. You want the positive affirmation. We're putting a scratch in the old stuff, and you're putting in the new stuff. So you're like, that's not it. This is what it is. And anything that's attached to that old feeling, I release that. That's no longer my MO, no longer my mode of operation. I get to choose a new operating system. And I now operate from this place. So we want to claim the new programming. So if we distill it, see when there's a lot going on, it can seem complicated, but we distill it down to what is it? I'm not worthy, rejection, abandonment, wholeness, feeling loved, feeling secure, come to a base feeling. And then we get to work with that root. And then it covers all the different examples or stories or places where it comes up in our life. And we don't have to spend 4 hours on Auntie Joe and 5 hours on, Uncle Bob, because I'm experiencing it with all of them, or whatever that might look like, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things that came up for me today that I noticed is we were talking on the phone earlier today, you and I find I'm an extrovert, which means I like to process some of what I experience externally. I can do the internal fine, but it helps me to talk it out. Mm-hmm. And when I talk with you, I know that you're not going to play into my story. You're somebody, you're a friend that's going to say, okay, forget that story, what's behind it. Or even, you don't even have to say that. I know how that is for you. So I know that I'm not going to talk to you and you're going to go, well, how could he do that? How could he, who does he think he is talking to you that way? Or whatever it is,
Right.
And that's really valuable because I've lived my life around people who would want to go down that drama story. And it never helps anybody to do that. It doesn't help the person telling what's going on. It doesn't help you move it. So I think it's really valuable to have people in your life that you can share a struggle that you're dealing with and know that they're going to help you get to where you need to go, regardless of the players in your movie.
A neutral voice.
Yeah.
You need a sounding board. It's really good to have people in our lives we can just speak our heart, and they're not involved even. They're not part of it. It's not in their movie. Because often, unfortunately, but we're all human, and we are sensitive. And partnerships, no matter who you are, you're going to have worked through things in partnership. If you're not, then I don't, maybe you're not really good. In my experience, the whole deal with partnership is about seeing yourself. It's about looking at everything in yourself, and the mirror is right in front of you. And no matter what comes up, it's an opportunity to be more love and to love yourself. And ultimately, everything really is that. If we can just love whatever's in front of us and go, you know what? I love it. I love you, Joe Bob, whatever. I love that guy. I love the way he smacks his mouth when he talks or whatever it is. Just love it all.
Yeah.
If we can do that, we are literally zeroing everything out. That's kind of the real, distill it down to what are we really trying to do? Love it all. But not so simple when you're dealing with the details,
It's not
right?
so simple when you're in something that you're triggered, that you're feeling emotional, that your mind is taking you in some crazy direction, and you're like, what is going on? Is it going on out here, or is it all me, and does it matter? Does it matter?
Well, and so that's cool. So one thing I notice often when the projections are happening, well, it's going on out there and I'm projecting it because they're matching the projections. So I'm in my own vibrational reality, but I also have experienced it where I literally change it right then, right?
Yes.
So you see the projection, you go, okay, this is not what I'm doing. This is not the reality I want to create. I'm creating this reality instead. And you shift it, and you shift that by affirming your I'm loved, I'm seen, I'm valued. Okay, and everything's going well here. Everything's going to go with ease and grace. Maybe I really love to just call in God and connect to God's source energy, ground, and put a bubble of light around whatever I'm doing, and just be like anything that's not in alignment with the highest love, light, and grace intentions to leave now. That this is a field of love, that I'm a field of love, and that God lives here, and this is the temple of God, temple of love. So whatever works for you, but affirming the things you need and are wanting so that you can lift yourself into a higher framework. is our opportunity. That's what we are like literally being tested on every day. You are offered an opportunity every day to like, hey, dun, 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 dun. Are you going to do it? Hey, are you going to separate? Are you going to separate or are you going to like level up? It's always
Right.
there all day long. It's crazy that it's happening all day. You are in a game that never ends. And it's kind of nuts.
Well, and you're talking about the little boy who said something that, made you laugh because you're like, oh my God, this is really about me. And to be able to have the awareness to be able to do that, it takes the constant checking in and constant work, and to say, this isn't about that little boy and what he said. He's not wrong. I somehow co-created this with him. I don't know why. I'll figure it out. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to heal that. And maybe one of the things I was saying earlier was sometimes I don't have to understand every nuance. It's more important that I get the big picture and do the things I need to do with my tools and how I get centered and how I clear my energy. And maybe I'll understand it later, but I don't always have to understand it right away. And I'm a person who likes to understand things. So
yeah, you've been understanding things that I think we have to all let a lot of that go, because as we move forward, there's so much we just don't understand.
Yeah.
And there's so much to know that we just don't know. And really back to like, as this wake up is happening and people are really, a lot of amazing things are happening. People are making choices and understanding greater maybe what's happened in some of the health realms, and some of the veils are being lifted, and people are coming to grips with a lot of things we thought we knew that we don't know. Mm-hmm. Some are, some aren't. But bottom line is, I think in order for us to move to a higher dimensional framework, we really have to give up the thought that we really know anything. And we have to really be led by our heart of God. What I know is that I got to let go.
Yeah.
And my mind or my reasoning is not the key. My knowledge isn't really it. It's not about what I know. It's about being surrendering. Ultimately, the only way I am finding that I get to go up, it just keeps being like, really? Really? Oh, God. I mean, really, just like surrender, humble, surrender, humble, surrender, humble, surrender, humble. It's got nothing to do with what I know. It's got everything to do with my ability to let go, my ability to let God, my ability to fall on the floor and say, right, I give thanks and I let that go, and I'm enough and I'm worthy and I'm loved at a deep level, and to purge the energies, the emotions, to feel it and to let it go out of my body, to use those energy tools, not to just, it's not for play. It's serious. You go in there and you can literally move energy out of your body that's been there stuck forever, and it's done, and you get to let it go. And then there's always something else to work on, but we don't have to work on the same thing forever. We get to let things go and achieve goals and move forward. And that's what this is about, really seeing each thing, meeting it, greeting it, and humbling ourselves and coming into the heart of God. So I think our knowingness has to we got to let go of that, and we just got to come into our heart and be willing to go, I don't know, but Spirit, show me. Let I be a vessel of love, and let I be led from my heart to feel what this is. Because I was talking with another colleague healer who was talking about, most people are really operating from a thinking place. And if you're trying to do anything from thinking, you're not connecting to source energy. It's really, source lives in our heart. We have to come into our heart. So if you're like, I don't know, if you surf or if you swim, whatever kind of brings you that joy, that passion, you know what that is, that dance, something, woo, you're like, God, woo, I'm so enlivened by that thing. You're probably in your heart when you're doing that thing. Now, if you think about the rest of your life and where you are you living in that same heart energy as you meet, maybe opening your store or going to your work at the restaurant or going to, with your child? So we want to basically, that place where we get so enlivened, you're in your heart. We want to breathe into our heart, drop into our heart, bring that head, heart that we've talked about before, heart coherence, heart-brain coherence, bring that head into our heart. And this is where we now become empowered, because now we're choosing to live a more of a fifth dimensional unified reality where we get to feel and be led of spirit. And no longer do we have to know, we just have to know to let go.
And that's why the name of the show is Intuitive Talk Story. Because we talk intuitively,
Right.
don't we?
Yeah, we're just listening to our heart.
Yeah, it's like what's coming up next. And, when you were talking about the things that are coming up, what came up for you, and it's really easy to be on a spiritual path when there is no resistance, when there's not much happening. Like, life is good, life is easy. I get up, I have my breakfast. Maybe I live alone. This is a scenario. Maybe I live alone and I have my breakfast and it's quiet and the birds are singing and everything's... So it's really easy to move along life and be, quote unquote, spiritual at those moments. It's when, things hit the fan that really push your buttons and you want to scream, or you want to, you're just exasperated about something somebody did or said or whatever, or what's going on in the world, or, when those things trigger us, that's when we really have to pull out the tools, because otherwise we can just kind of spiral down into a place that doesn't feel so good. So,
and Eila and I were talking earlier, and we were saying we were both reflecting that at certain points in the last couple of weeks, each one of us has screamed loudly. Like, I'm like, I had my in my car, just sometimes it's not that it's not like, well, when you get to a certain level, you'll no longer feel anything. No, you will feel everything.
Yeah.
And we greet it. It's not that you no longer, nothing ever happens. Everything's happening.
Yeah.
But that you have tools, and that something that maybe used to knock me out because I didn't feel worthy, now doesn't knock me off my game anymore. Now I'm able to stand there and not get taken out by a blast like that, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I actually have compassion for you, because I feel like you're just probably saying that because you're hurting.
Right.
I can differentiate and not take it personal. Now I know that's just, someone else going through something, and I can hold a compassionate love for someone else's pain. Whereas before, when I was in my own pain, it was really hard to hold compassionate love for someone else's pain, because you're dealing with your own pain. You're just trying to make it through your own stuff. So, everyone can relate to that, and, at some level of your own growth and pain and experiences. And to each of us, our pain is the most, you know what I mean? Just because you've never been through, like, well, I shouldn't have. I'm not. People say a lot, they discount themselves because they think, well, I've had a great life. Nothing's really gone wrong for me. A lot of people have it really hard. I should just be happy. Well, yeah, we all want to be happy, and all of us can be happy. And there still might have been something that happened in your world emotionally as a child, anything throughout your life as a soul. Obviously, you're here in 3D. You're here learning something. So you are here to learn something. It's just distilling, what is that? If there's no pain, if nothing's hitting us, nothing's ever making us feel bad, then yay, you're like in zero and you're in neutrality and you're feeling great all the time. That's the place to be. And for the most part, I feel like I feel there mostly. And Eila and I were saying this too. We both feel like, for the most part, I'm feeling that in my daily experience. But in these loops, these greater loops, these things we're talking about, stuff can still come up. Something can still...
Right, and you really have to honor it.
Yeah, feel it.
Yes.
Express it. Let it go. Because that's part of getting it out of you.
Right, let it move through you.
Let it move through you. That's why I dance.
Yeah.
I mean, I've danced to save my life. I go to dance and I'm just like, oh, thank God I just sweated and got all that energy out and moved all that out of my body, because I was going through something. I was feeling frustrated. I remember doing that. Like, as I was younger, I remember it's helped me so much to let go.
The other day, I bought a speaker, a big speaker, and I plugged in my phone, and I have a dance list, and I put it on, and a song came on, and it was loud. I haven't had loud music around, and I love loud music. And I put it on loud, and I started to dance, and my whole body was all like goosebumps, the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, I forgot how good this feels. I haven't been doing this.
Breathing and moving. So if you know what, people go, well, I don't even know any tools. I don't have time. Breathe. Just breathe. Honestly, when the stuff starts going down, if you don't notice, it gets quick. If you're like get excited with a friend, or you get frustrated, or something happens with your partner or your child, you can feel it. It starts to go fast. Like what do you say?
Right, and you're not breathing. You're not taking those deep breaths, right?
So if we can, if you can kind of agree to yourself, I make a commitment that I make with my own self is if I feel that energy happening, I'm just gonna stop whatever I'm in and start breathing deeply, and just breathe and come into my heart. Am I in my heart? Maybe the other person, maybe I am already in my heart. Maybe the other person isn't. Either way, I'm going to breathe. Maybe I'm the one that's frustrated and the other person's in their heart. Either way, no matter who's doing what, it doesn't have to be my fault.
Yeah,
or
let's not
fault.
even do
We're not
that.
going to blame, right? We're just going to know the energy doesn't feel good right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to breathe and stay in a neutral, see that already we're creating a neutral awareness that we just don't want to participate in anything that's not really going to support you and I at the highest level. So let's just not do it, because I'm in charge of myself. Back to that. So again, if you're not able to do that, that means a program is taking over, which keeps you from actually managing yourself. Those are the things we're breaking. So you can see if a program takes over, that's the moment often we're talking about early on of the triggers, that you have this 30-second window to stop a trigger before a program actually rolls in and takes over, and you're usually not able to stop yourself, whatever the thing is, in that program. So we're trying to, if you're with a person, you're trying to not trigger with someone. If they bring something up, use that 30-second window to go find yourself, get yourself together before you engage with the person. If you've already, that's already happened for you, and you've already, picked up the trigger or whatever else, but you're just feeling like maybe there's something I need to really, I can't really, maybe you're really triggered. Like we were saying, you're really triggered.
Super triggered.
I can't deal with this at all. So don't make it worse. Get out of there and go yell in your car.
Go yell in your car, which is a form of deep breathing.
Because you're letting go. Whatever you need, catharsis, letting go and releasing energy out of our body because it's not serving. It's this bleh. And sometimes when we let that go, it's kind of like a storm. Then it clears, and then you can see the thing that was actually underneath that cloud. You're like, oh, what's really going on is I'm actually feeling. And usually under anger is a feeling. Like, I actually feel hurt. You know what? I felt hurt. I didn't feel wanted, and I felt like me. I felt rejected. See, I was a hurt there. It wasn't me. So that hurt is when I get to that place, then I get to look at it, right? And go, where is it coming from? Now we get into that, go get it thing. Pick it out, piece it out, and root work. Come to the root and dispel it. So then it no longer has power. So it's not that then now for me, let's say that little boy I might still experience a little boy coming up to me and saying, you're not my friend. But I'm going to go, that's one of those tests, huh? Love you. I love you so much. Yeah. And you're dispelling things because things come back in to make sure. Are you sure you're okay? You really, if I test you?
Yes.
Are you not going to bite? Huh?
And humor. You bring up humor. Yeah. When that's something I've been thinking about lately. It's like, why am I getting so serious all of a sudden? What's up with that? I like to find humor in things. So when faced with something, I need to remember the humor. Look for the humor in it.
Laugh.
Yeah.
Laugh.
Yeah, laugh at yourself.
This whole gig is a game. The entire gig. So if you go back to Take It Wide, you're in a galactic game, and this is a multi-dimensional Jumanji game. It's just nuts. You're in a vibrational framework. It all operates with your projections and what you're thinking and experiencing and what you're vibrationally resonating in. It's literally cray. So it really does require you to let go and go, right, I'm the master of my reality. That's really what it is. And we talk about a lot of great tools, but just to touch back on gratitude as a kind of number one, give thanks and praise, get you back into like, where do I want to be when I'm having a really hard time, when those moments that have been difficult, the deep moments, I go to gratitude, and it's like everything I got. I like thanks and praise. I'm just so grateful. I have a home. I'm so grateful. I have food. I'm so grateful for my life. I just continue going gratitude. You say you love yourself. Whatever you need to do, you put it in right then. It does feel like a life and death situation when you're at major moments of upgrade in your own self, because you are breaking long-standing programs at really deep levels. So you're literally you're owning it. You got to own it. You got to want it. You got to be hungry, and you got to, nope, this is happening. I choose it. And then you choose, you're like, oh, I made it through the door. Oh my gosh. Okay. And you kind of level out for a minute, and then the spiral like rolls again. And now there's a new one to come along, because it's this constant growth, right? Constant growth.
Right. And, what I've noticed with gratitude when I'm in a really funky place is that it keeps me from sinking. It's like whatever's going on for me, whatever I'm getting triggered about, I'm not getting to it. I'm getting frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm angry. And if I go, the first thing I do is go outside, and I just look up at the clouds, and I give gratitude for the clouds and whatever the heck I see out there, because it's always amazing. And it just keeps me from going down any lower. So even if it doesn't take you fully out of whatever it is, it will, I feel it definitely helps me from going down the rabbit hole any deeper, where I don't want to be. I don't want to keep feeding these crazy thoughts that come through my head. And the gratitude breaks that. It breaks that and gives me a chance to take some breathing. And speaking of breathing, we're going to take a break. And if anyone wants to call in, you can call in after the break at 808-884-5657. And KNKR now has a text here on the computer, which is 808-698-9996. Going to take a while to get used to that one, but we will. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute.
The Kohala Night Market returns on Wednesday, July 5th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Village Hub. This special evening will feature a film screening of This is Kohala, a production of the Kohala Oral History Project. Beginning at 5 p.m. at the Hub Barn, you will have a chance to see video clips from the Kohala Oral History Project recorded at the 2022 Kohala Reunion. Following the screening, there will be time for talk story discussion. Also, the community is invited to shop locally produced food and crafts, and food trucks will be cooking up some local grinds. That's the Kohala Night Market on Wednesday, July 5th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Village Hub. See you there.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha Kohala. This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
Protecting me, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me, I am.
What makes Kohala so special? We made a film to find out. The Kohala Oral History Project is proud to present This is Kohala, a short film that captures stories of what makes our community so special. The film will be shown at the July 5th Kohala Night Market at 5 p.m. Hawaii time. Join us at the Resilience Hub Barn to watch the 30-minute film. Following the film will be a panel discussion with participants from the project. You can also catch the live stream from the Kohala Reunion 2025 Facebook page. go to the event section for the link to join. See you there.
Welcome back to Intuitive Talk Story. It's 3:41 on July 5th, 2023. You're listening to Eila Allgood and
Michál, Anna.
And we're happy to be here. We've been chitty-chatting quite a bit, and we were just talking about how when we start to plan what we're going to say, it just doesn't feel right. So we're
both so intuitive.
It's just
we operate from that place we talk about a lot, which is, I guess, why we share it, because
Yeah.
we're both pretty heart-based. And intuitive based, and although I really love my head, I mean, I love the brain.
Yeah, but it works with
it works with the heart,
because
and,
you couldn't talk if you didn't have a brain, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that gets a little. Now we're getting somewhere else. But bottom line, I think we were kind of touching on that we felt like, in general, we're just in this really pivotal time of choice points and. Using these, if you've never listened to us before, some like crucial tools that we think are important. If you listen to us all the time, then you know where to find us on Spotify with Intuitive Talk Story, EilaAllgood.com. I have a YouTube, Michál, Anna, and I have a lot of tools on there, meditations. They're all daily scans, which are all these kind of things we're talking about. But that kind of encompasses things like breathing. Maybe you need to go scream in your car. Maybe you need to go dance and move. And the meditation tools are really around cord cutting, severing agreements, contracts, grounding, protection, and moving, picking up pearls, like gathering energetic pieces like we were just discussing. There are some internal processes for that. And really, getting in touch with your inner self. So the more in touch we are with our inner feelings and our experience of what we are experiencing, the more we really know what we're feeling, the more we're able to then really master our reality. So often, we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to be honest with ourselves, right? We're like, no, I'm fine. I feel great. I feel wonderful. I'm awesome. I'm great.
Yeah.
And we don't look at stuff because it's, nobody has time for that. Nobody cares. Whatever. I'm strong. Whatever that might look like. Or maybe your other way, maybe you do it a different way. Bottom line is, if we make a commitment to be honest to ourselves, that means I'm honest and I'm committed to moving through my own path, my own sludge, to find the light at the end of the tunnel, to stand in unity, to be my Christic light self in every moment and every day and every place I go. That's a commitment only I can make. Mm-hmm. And I choose, we have to choose that commitment, and that means I'm willing to look at the deep stuff. It means I'm willing to go down those little roads and, okay, I'm going to go use my tools and make that happen so I can pick up my stuff and basically get out of that sludge and move into a higher realm, right? And gratitude was another great one that I was talking about, to move us out of a lower energy into a higher energy, getting into gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation. Gratitude and appreciation are related but a little different. So appreciating.
One of the things I often remind myself is when I am in some kind of a thing where I'm not liking my thought process or behavior or something, I remember, this is going to change. Mm-hmm. Everything changes.
Nothing's permanent.
This isn't like the new Eila. This is just me now, and it will change. And as long as I believe wholeheartedly it's going to change, guess what? It will change. And that's part of it too, is kind of like creating your reality. Who is it you want to be? How is it you want to be in the world? I'm not a victim of my thoughts. I'm not a victim of my emotions. They are part of me, but I'm never a victim of them. So therefore, I can change them through intention, through breathing, through meditation, through gratitude, through calling somebody and saying, I am just in a funky place right now. Can I talk to you, or talk to me? Like sometimes talking and hearing somebody else, being around somebody else, helps us get out of our own way for a little bit. And that's change.
Yeah, that goes kind of back to the sounding board and having a neutral place to say what you need to say. And I also had a thing happen recently where the friend, where we felt like it was like I was completely perceived in a whole different way. Like I could see, like in their movie, they're seeing it one way, and I'm seeing a whole nother way. And I'm like, wait, that's not at all what it is. But they're really embroiled in that movie.
Yes.
And you're like, there's nothing you can do again but be loving. And we want to go, no, that's not the right perception. No, that's not it. Let me show you. Or you just go, great, it's all good, and give thanks. I love you. So letting go when you're caught in someone else's perceptions, or projections, as well as your own, right? Because they're both back and forth. And sometimes back to that, break the projection when you see it. If you're like, okay, we just clear that. I love so and so. I create love here. I zero out. I find my part. I see what I'm supposed to learn. I go to the root. So if you name all those things and you call them and you affirm it, you've just addressed all that, and you're literally now in alignment with what Eila was just saying, moving forward. Now I can move forward. I'm addressing it. I'm looking at it.
Right.
Calling it out. That's the elephant in the room. All right. There it was. That's what happened. I did that. They did that. It happened. Or I attracted that. Or whatever it is. You're taking accountability, full accountability for whatever my creation or energies or what's being projected, and letting go of maybe my attachment to it being a different way. Maybe I just wanted it a different way. Attachment's a huge one for us.
Yes.
We're so attached to what we think we want. So whatever it is, we're busting it all to go, nope. I surrender and let go and humble myself. Because ultimately, I tell you, really, try it. If you just use that as your answer for everything, it's going to go great. Just surrender, let go, and humble yourself.
Yeah, well, being humble goes a long way.
To ourselves.
Yes.
Ultimately, you're humbling yourself to yourself.
Yes.
I wanted it to be this way, but it's not. So thanks and praise. I give thanks, and I just humble to what it is.
Yeah.
Just get in alignment with what it is.
Yeah, what is the reality right now versus what I want it to be.
And love it.
And love it where it is.
Love it where it is.
Yeah, love it, love them, love yourself.
What if they never change? What if your family member, your brother, your sister, whoever it is, they're never going to be different. They're going to be just that way. And it's okay. Because everyone's right where they're meant to be.
Yeah, that reminds me of my brother. You said that. Well, I brought this up before, is that I would see my parents interact with my brother. It's like they wanted him, I never thought of it this way. They wanted him to be something he wasn't. And I was younger than him, and I probably was very intuitive then as a kid. And I could see that they were just barking up the wrong tree. Like, he's never going to be whatever it is you think you want him to be. Like, just see him for who he is. And, we all have different ways of being and quirks and personality traits. And my brother has his kind of quirks. And I've never tried, I really feel like I've never tried to make him be something he isn't. It's like, that's just my brother. You know what I mean? And it's not good or bad. It's just it's like his reality is his reality, and it's very different than my reality. And I think when we go up against that and want somebody to be something else, we just cause suffering.
That's right.
That's it.
Well, they say attachment is the root of all suffering.
Yeah.
Because when we're attached to anything, we suffer. If we're not attached to it, then no skin off my back, no skin off your back.
Right.
It just is that.
And
right?
that doesn't mean you don't feel like, say, you have a friend.
You don't feel anything.
Right. It doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It doesn't mean you don't get sad because your friend doesn't want to be friends with you anymore or something. It just means you're not going to suffer because you realize, okay, she doesn't want to be friends with me anymore. That makes me really sad, and I honor my feelings, and I go through that grieving process, but I'm not suffering.
Well, here's a great example. That same little boy, actually, I've been watering this pineapple for, you know how long it takes. You know how long it takes for pineapples. It takes a long time. Well, it was a growing pineapple. Like, it's a little pineapple.
Yeah.
But it's still got probably 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just watched him right out the window, just pluck it right off like nobody's business, like just having fun.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm dying inside, like, But I, was like, oh shoot, I can't be attached, right? That is what
Yeah.
it is. So I did
And
feel,
it's done.
and I felt it's done. Like there's nothing
It's
you can
done.
do.
You can't
There's-
tape it
that's
back on.
You can't tape it on. Yeah. So basically, I was like, that's a great example of how well I really did feel the sadness of I've been nurturing this pineapple for this long. I felt that sadness in myself. I let
Yeah.
myself feel it and give thanks.
Yeah.
And then I also had to just be unattached because that's just what it is, and be grateful that there's another pineapple. There's one right next to it. So
And you could probably get some somewhere else too, right?
well, of course, but it
Yeah.
was just how you're giving
Oh,
one or
I
this
know.
or that. So then instead, I made it like I put the pineapple, that little pineapple, on the shelf, like a little centerpiece. Like,
Aw.
oh, look at you, blessed
honored it.
pineapple. I honored this pineapple
That I can't eat because it's not ready.
Yeah, but I'm unattached, and I give thanks for the
Yeah.
experience, and I'm not going to suffer or get pulled in
Mm-hmm.
to this. Give thanks and praise. There's always another day. There's always
Yeah.
another pineapple, so to speak. But if we
Yeah.
take the pineapple and make that about everything,
Yeah.
a pineapple, you're like, well, it's just a pineapple, of course. But when it's something harder, use that same concept as the pineapple.
Right. If you flip out over the pineapple, what are you going to do when it's your friend?
right, right.
Yeah.
So
Years ago,
or
now that you brought
apply
up
that unattachment, apply that separation, feel the pain,
Yeah.
and then unattach. Know there's another pineapple. That whole gig.
yeah.
Which
I planted pineapples some years ago because you brought it up. I have to say it. And I painstakingly, put down the fabric. And I'm not really a green thumb kind of gal, but
You
I'm
are
living in
now.
Hawaii and I'm going to plant the pineapples. And I had this beautiful bunch of pineapples and I put it in irrigation all by hand, all by myself. And they were doing so nicely. And I had about 7 or 8 of them coming up, getting ready. And I woke up one morning and they were all gone. The piggies came.
You're kidding.
And I cried.
oh,
I literally
know.
cried.
I see. Like, the
And
pineapple is
and
like
then
that.
of course I am a bit of an optimist. I'm like, well, at least they ate good, they had the pineapples, and I said, you know what, I'm not ever going to do that again because I don't want to lose the pineapples to the piggies
You
again.
never grew pineapples again. Oh, Eila.
Not like that. No,
Oh.
I would do a raised bed someday.
Right. There,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you
That's the
just
only way to
you
do
just
it.
got smarter.
Yeah, you got to
What
put
are
them
you
up.
saying? You just
Put them
got
up higher
smarter.
than the pigs.
That's hilarious. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but it
letting
is
things
it
go.
is
Grain of
keeping.
salt.
Yeah.
Grain of
it's-
salt with everything.
Yeah.
We are all faced, and again, my dear worker friend of mine, colleague, energetic healer colleague, he reflects, if you're not dealing with stuff, you're not doing what you're here to do, because we're
Yeah.
all here to do the work. This isn't vacation land. This is like, the
Even
stuff-
though we're in Hawaii. Yeah.
3D is not vacation land.
Yeah.
I mean, the Earth
No,
grid
I know.
is not vacation land. The whole
Yeah.
thing, no matter where you are on it, the whole thing is a whole experience of get in there and get your stuff, because we don't like hanging out in 3D isn't really like the place to be. There's a whole lot of really, it's kind of like it's a bit of a slavish system, kind of gig. So the whole goal is to kind of get out of that and get into a more open freedom, sovereignty paradigm within the self, where we can really truly experience freedom, right? And we had 4th of July yesterday, so touch on that
Freedom
real
is
quick.
on.
Real freedom, though, freedom within, freedom of your mind, freedom of your soul, your spirit, freedom of the heart. That is our true sovereignty, connected to God, loving ourselves. Another a great one I say all the time, but give it to you again. I am love, I am sovereign, I am free. Say it often, say it loud, and use those beautiful tools, as they are so very powerful.
They really are. And I think I like what you said about freedom of mind. I think that's really important, because sometimes the monkey brain gets busy and it tells us all kinds of half-truths and untruths. And
Well, all these tools are about managing that mind.
Yeah.
Because the triggers happen in your head. They're in your mind, those loops.
yeah.
They're all happening in your mind from a trigger, from a place that takes you on a mind loop.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this part is about managing your mind. Then you use a tool to go into your spiritual self to pick up the energetic part. But the mind has to, you're managing and what's the word, navigating, or watching the mind to say like, oh, making sure because we have to retrain it. We have to retrain
Right. We
our minds.
we don't let it run us.
Right.
We need to control
exactly,
it.
which
Yeah.
shows, again, that's a great way of also exhibiting why we need to be in the heart. Because the heart gets to be in charge. The mind carries out the tasks. It's
Right.
not running amok. Like a great way to describe that would be, we don't want AI to run our society.
Right.
We want the human heart to run our society. We want our own beingness and our own life force energy to decide the life of our families, our children, our societies, not an artificial force.
Right.
So we can think in ourselves kind of like that. Is it just our head who's in charge? That's kind of like our own AI.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
the technical
yeah.
part, our brain
Yeah.
part, or our heart that's connected to all that is and is life force energy. So because everything's a macro of the micro, we're experiencing the same things on the internal as we are on the outternal. So which is kind of shows you there. We're seeing both of those realities within and without. The bifurcation for us to choose life, right, and our heart, or to go to this more, technical place.
You know, it's funny that you bring up the AI thing, because I've had in the past few weeks, I've had a number of people who come in to the store and they want to buy something, and they're like, oh, can I use my credit card? Some people are like, pretty soon, would you take the chip in my head? And I'm like, that is not a reality that I'm...
Someone has the chip in their head?
No, but they're talking that way.
Oh.
You know how it is. You create your reality through your words. So
this is big, and this can actually be
Yes.
our next show. Let's talk about technology, because it's a huge subject, and it is actually really important. And technology and food. Watch what you eat. I'm going to say that.
Yes.
But just be aware of there's a whole lot going on, and we can talk more about the technology aspects, but really we're all claiming our sovereignty and our freedom as humans, as human life, heart-centered beings connected to the nature, to God, to water, fire, earth, air, to the elements of life. And that is why you want to go outside with put your bare feet on the ground. You want to, put water on your body, go swim, breathe the wind, listen to the birds, let anything, go hug a tree, whatever, be with nature. Nature is our universal consciousness. God's source energy is all around us. And ultimately speaking, this is all about choosing God's source energy and life force in the heart, or choosing a more less connected reality that's separated from the heart. Ultimately speaking, it's love or fear. Really, it's that simple. And that translates into a lot of different emotions and thoughts. Fear isn't, well, I'm not afraid. Well, fear can be a lot of things. Shame is a form of fear. All these things we've talked about, these lower vibratory frequencies, they're all forms of fear. And then the higher vibratory frequencies are forms of love. So we're choosing one or the other. And that's the bifurcation that we're talking about within ourselves. If we look at it externally, we're going to see that bifurcation expressed as AI versus man.
Yeah. Well, just bringing that up is valuable for me to think about how I want to address that, because I don't want that in my reality. So as people, even though they're joking about it, not my reality.
Yeah, maybe taking cash only.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be taking XYZ, and that's ever it. And actually, that's really something that some people have encouraged. If you don't want to see a kind of just AI reality, is keep cash in your world.
Yeah.
Keep using cash. Keep buying with cash. If you're a vendor, take cash. Keep cash alive, because the more we go to this electronic, it just, think of it this way, and kind of ponder this for the next couple of weeks before we gather together to have this discussion. Wouldn't it be fun, actually, if any of you are into it, feel free to bring any info you have. 2 weeks we'll talk about this. This will be, when was that? July. When is that going to be, Eila?
7 and 7 is
July
14.
19th.
Okay.
It'll be July 19th. We'll have a discussion on tech and AI. If you have some morsels you'd like to throw in, some questions, some thoughts, go ahead and give us a call or a text or email.
Yeah.
And we'll just go over all those again right before we get off the air. But and we'll discuss this topic, because there's a lot to be said here, for sure.
So if you want to reach us, you can... email is ealgood
Eila Allgood.
Yeah, no, just EALGOOD at gmail.com.
Oh.
That's my email.
Okay.
And yours is?
You can go to michalannalove, MICHALANNA love at gmail.com. And call this if you want to call in that day, July 19th. We'll be here. The
808-884-5657. 9 years, I'm still reading the number off the board.
Hilarious.
And
the new text number, there's a text line. But although we're not here all the time, so you might not want to do that.
Yeah.
But feel free to email us. We'd love to hear from you. And have this really pivotal, I think, important discussion, because the next level is we really all have to be vigilant, I think, about our freedom and about where we want to go, and making clear choices of what we're choosing and what realities we're choosing, and do that together.
So thank you for tuning in today to Intuitive Talk Story. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Big mahalo to you, Michál, and to everyone out there listening.